Hi, you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome back to the Legacy Liftoff class while we wait for some of our students to travel in. Thank you guys for checking us out here on YouTube. I love it. I know there's many facets of me that you guys like, okay, what is she, what else she's going to do? But I like staying busy. So we're going to definitely get deep, deep, deep into. We've already got chapter one done. So we're in this. We're on a roll. Like I said before, we are on our book, fifth book. I'm sorry, our fifth book. Here on Legacy Liftoff. Don't forget Monday. I'm sorry, on the 6th, July 6th, we will be doing our first month ritual. Okay. So I'm looking forward to that for definitely sure, for sure. So as you know, we are in the midst of, like I said, chapter one of our new book. Excited, excited, excited. I try to keep a lot of notes all over the place. Yeah, my notes are all over the place. I shut the book earlier and now I forgot where I put it. Things that we're going to be talking about today. So, while we wait, let's do this. Let's first of all, let's start it out with, okay. Um, so I thought I had other songs over here, but I guess I'm going to have to definitely download some more songs. I heard you say you're tired. Oh. Like every color is drained away. Mornings feel like mountains. Even breathing feels like weight. I know that kind of quiet, where every thought cuts to the bone. But you are not your worst days. You're more than what your head has shown. You have so much to live for, more than you can see tonight. There are laughs you haven't laughed yet, hands you haven't held that tight. You have so much to live for, even if you can't believe. So when you feel like letting go, lean on me and stay and breathe. There's coffee with a stranger who might turn into a friend. A song you write at midnight that you'll never want to end. A road you haven't driven, where the rain lets down its guard. A day you finally tell yourself, I made it this far. That's hard. You have so much to live for, more than you can see tonight. There are laughs you haven't laughed yet, hands you haven't held that tight. You have so much to live for, even if you can't believe. So when you feel like letting go, lean on me and stay and breathe. You don't have to be the strongest. You just have to stay one more day. We can sit here in the silence till the dark gets bored and fades away. You have so much to live for, more than you can
There are tears that turn to smiling. You'll get through this storm somehow. You have so much to live for, even if you can't believe. So when you think it's all been said, I'll be here. Just stay and breathe. I heard you say you're tired.
All right, you guys, again, welcome back to the Legacy Liftoff class that we do every Wednesday and Saturday at 7:30. I changed my times because I had an obligation before, but now we don't have the obligation anymore. So now I can give myself a little breather and come on at 7:30 here. Welcome again. Let me say what I am. I am a certified life coach, but I am also a certified empowerment coach. So, um, you're not going to see plaques on the wall and stuff. If you don't believe me, I can't make you believe me, right? I cannot make you believe me. Um, that's a choice of yours, but I am those things. I don't play with the gifts that been given. So I'm definitely a life coach and an empowerment coach, which goes up under the same thing. A life coach is this, the top part of it, top tier, and then you can break it down to your niche. And my niche is empowerment, motivating, getting people ready, setting them up for success. When I say setting up for success, let me say this. I am not one of those people that I coach, but I teach. I think I'm more of a teacher opposed to allowing or getting you guys to say, you know what, I'm gonna do what she does. No, I'm just here. You give me something you're talking about, some situation you're in, and I just kind of give you solutions. And you tell me whether or not you're going to be successful with those things. That's all I mean, I basically, because I don't want to make it oversimplifying. And definitely, I don't want to do that. So, um, being an empowerment coach is basically giving you um, permission, the permission that you didn't want to give yourself permission to do all the things that you wanted to do, to transform your mindset to where it works for you and you believe enough in yourself to make things happen. Okay, so um, we are going to go ahead and get started. While we wait for everybody else, I'm going to go ahead and get into. I need to share this screen real quick here. So, you guys, I love this new cover. Um, me with my design. Excuse me. So, we're on chapter 2 of Embracing the Shadow, A Woman of Color's Guide to Emotional Healing. Okay. So in chapter 1 was just an introduction to shadow work. What is shadow work? Understanding what shadow work is. Shadow work is essential for women of color seeking emotional healing and personal growth. This involves delving into the parts of ourselves that we often reject or ignore, which are referred to as our shadow selves, the dark side of us, right? The practice is particularly relevant for women of color, as societal and cultural pressures can exacerbate feelings of inadequacy and unworthiness. So, embracing shadow can confront these hidden aspects and empowered self. So, the sides of you that you don't like everyone else to see. And it takes certain things to start happening, like triggers, to allow this to come out. And how you handle it is what's important. Do you know how to handle it when it rise its head, right? Let's see here. I'm sorry, guys. I had to check something here. Let's see what we got here. Um, okay, okay. Somebody's okay. Perfect. Okay, and okay. All right. So, oh, hold up. Let me see something else. I thought I saw something. Because we don't have to be at the bottom, but we. Okay, I apologize for that. Okay. So shadow work techniques can vary. We talked about in our last class, we literally talked about journaling, meditation, and kind of the same thing. When we look at the psychological perspective on shadow work, it emphasizes the importance of acknowledging our darker traits as part of our overall identity. We can't run from them, they're there. I asked the class to look up Carl Jung, who came up with the concept of shadow work. I have a whole book on him, but I don't know what I did. I put it up. Okay, and we talked about the importance of emotional healing. This is a vital aspect of personal growth, especially for women of color who often face unique challenges and societal pressures. The journey of healing involves confronting past traumas and acknowledging suppressed feelings, which is essential for self acceptance and empowerment. So, by embracing the process of emotional healing, we can reclaim our identities and create spaces where we can thrive without the weight of unprocessed emotions. And what this is kind of like a 360 for me. I use that a lot because a lot of things that I do are, in a sense, a 360 type um, uh, mechanism. Let me say it to you like that. Simply because I also talk a little bit, I touch a little bit on this on our Rooted in Rising podcast, which is on my Substack. If you want to check that out, Salita M is my Substack name. You can check out our podcast over there. We talk about that there. And we also kind of bring it in, when I say 360 again, we bring it all the way around in our Saturday show that I do. It used to be a morning show. Now it's not. It's an evening, afternoon show. So that's on. That's also part of the Rooted and Rising um, makeup. So these classes or these conversation discussions I'm having is all centered around the same thing. In some kind of way, they kind of interact with each other. So it's not like I'm repeating the same thing over and over again, but it's good that I'm able to see it from different angles simply because it's important, right? That this information gets out here. Um, so it says unique experience of women of color. The experience of women of color is often multifaceted, shaped by layers of identity and culture. Each woman carries a unique story, influenced by background, history, and the social expectation placed upon her. The idea that we've got to act a certain way. We're not supposed to be angry, this and that, and it's not only, I'm not going to say this is all from society, it's also from people that are close to us, putting us on this platform where they think we deserve to be. And or they think, yeah, they think that we deserve to be, or their perception of who we are. And we allow that to happen a lot more than what we should. So that's when I say 360, that's the kind of conversations I'm having or discussions I'm having on my other platforms, right? Um, when we look at it from the societal standpoint, we're talking about the challenges can include racial discrimination, cultural appropriation, which we have a lot of that all the time. Um, so the our journey shadow work may involve not only personal traumas but also collective wounds that are often overlooked. So there might be some things going on with you on a personal basis, but on top of that, you're still dealing with people having us um, be we're looked upon or we're viewed as these negative things. And I don't understand why Now, let me say this about us as African American women, as women in general, women of color, melanated women. Um, we, no matter what we do, and this is not about us trying to cry like things will never work out for us. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm saying no matter what we do, we're being judged. Okay, we're being judged. We're being judged if we're doing something good. We're being judged if we're doing something bad. We're going to be judged. And what we have to do is when when those times happen, we have to either be authentic to ourselves, understanding that that's not who we are. Okay? People's opinion of you is their opinion. That's it. It's not who you see yourself as. And I think sometimes because we're looking for validation, people pleasing syndrome, you're looking for validation from the outside world, right? And because you're doing that, that makes it hard for you to actually look at yourself. Again, the mirror. I told you I have a mirror sitting in front of me right now. That mirror will definitely, if you look in that mirror the way that you need to look into that mirror, I promise you, you will see what needs to be seen about yourself, right? So that's what's important. So we're on chapter 2, the shadow self. Okay. We're on, oops, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I don't know why that's still open. Okay. There we go. Okay. So let's talk now about the shadow self. Okay. The shadow self. So defining the shadow self in psychology. So the concept of, let me make this bigger so I can see it bigger. I can see it, but I want to see it bigger. Okay. Okay, the concept of shadow self, as introduced by psychologist Carl Jung, refers to the unconscious part of our personality that we tend to ignore or suppress. For many women of color, these aspects are often shaped by societal pressures, cultural expectations, and personal experiences of marginalization. Acknowledging the shadow self is a critical step in the journey of self discovery and emotional healing, as it allows individuals to confront the hidden fears, insecurities, and desires that influence their behavior and emotional being. Engaging with the shadow self can be a profound act of bravery. Facing yourself can be a profound act of bravery. It involves peeling back the layers of social conditioning and personal trauma to reveal the truths that lie beneath. Women of color may find that their shadow self includes internalized racism, gender biases, or feeling of inadequacy stemming from systemic inequalities. By understanding these hidden elements, they can begin to reclaim their narrative and empower themselves in their healing journey. Okay? All right. Shadow work techniques such as journaling, meditation, and therapy provide valuable tools for exploring these deeper aspects of yourself. These practices encourage reflection and fosters a safe space to examine feelings that may have been buried. As women of color engage in shadow work, they often discover newfound clarity and strength, enhancing their ability to navigate the complexities of their identities and experiences. Now, before we go any further, um, I'm going to make sure I can find it before we go. I had some shadow questions that I definitely want to, since we're talking about ourselves, I had some shadow questions that I wrote down that I want to share with you if I can find them. I got to figure out where did I write them. Did I write them in here or did I write them in my other book? Give me 1 second here. So, because I remember doing it, I just got to remember where I wrote them. Did I write them in this book? See, I have two different books that I use. Let's see here. That's not it. Let's see here. Okay. Here we go. I found them. I found the questions that I want to share with you guys real quick here. Let's see here. Okay. So the first question, and you guys can use this as a prompt also. You can use these questions and answer them in your journal. So the number one, I'm going to only give you 3 of them for right now, and we might get 3 more later on. Let me see how many I had altogether. Okay, 6. So later on, throughout the class, I'll give you 3 more. So number one is, what power have I relinquished to others, and how can I reclaim it with unapologetic confidence? Now, let me tell you why that question, because I just told you guys that, let me see, what power have I relinquished to others, and how can I reclaim it with unapologetic confidence? Okay, so this right here is the first question. Okay, this is the first question. What power have I relinquished to others, and how can I reclaim it with unapologetic confidence? So, when we just explained how we are being judged, or we are being judged by other people, societal ways of making us feel like, everything we do, we have to question, right? So that question goes there, right? The next question was, in what ways have I been taught to fear my own darkness? Wow. And how can I begin to embrace it as a source of strength? Wow, that's a good one. Okay. And I do understand today there was a storm that came through. From what my husband was telling me, we didn't get the bad part. Other places did. But I know the lights went out earlier. And it got cold, which was very unusual. And it thundered and lightning, the whole 9 yards for a minute, and it rained real hard. So I do understand if everybody can't come into the class right now. It as a source. Okay, so I'm not going to answer these questions. I want you guys to answer the questions. Oops. Okay. Very good questions. Okay, so those 2 right there. Let's do another one. So let's do this last question here, because it's 6 questions. Oh, excuse me, y'all. Oh, wrong thing. Okay. So, question 3 is, when in life do I hide my desire, and how would my reality shift if I pursued them without shame? So, look, it depends on what your desire is. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. So I want you to kind of, if you can, answer those questions when you get a chance. So we're going to go ahead and engaging with, let me make sure I'm reading the right thing. Okay, so engaging with the shadow self can be a profound act of bravery. It involves peeling back. Okay, we read that already. Shadow work techniques such as journaling, meditation, and therapy provide valuable tools for exploring these deeper aspects of the self. These practices encourage reflection and fosters a safe space to examine feelings that may have been buried. As women of color engage in shadow work, they often discover newfound clarity and strength, enhancing their ability to navigate the complexities of their identities and experiences. The impact of shadow work on mental health cannot be overstated. By confronting and integrating the shadow self, individuals can reduce anxiety, depression, and feeling of isolation. This process promotes self acceptance and self love, allowing women of color to embrace their full selves without shame or fear. The journey through shadow work reinforces the importance of community and support, as shared experiences can lead to collective healing. Ultimately, defining the shadow self in psychology is not just about recognizing our hidden traits, it is about embracing them as essential parts of our identity. For women of color, this journey is deeply intertwined with their cultural narratives and personal histories. By acknowledging and integrating their shadow selves, they can cultivate resilience and foster a more profound sense of belonging with themselves and their community. So we have to understand it's important that we attach ourselves to ourselves. Yeah, that sounds crazy, but because sometimes, it's almost like an outer body experience that we're dealing with. It's like you're looking at yourself from a whole different window because you're trying to convince yourself that you believe this is who you are, right? And this is how you're handling things. But when you find yourself actually, again, I told you I'm a big mirror person. When you finally look at yourself and not be ashamed of who you see, right? When you're not no longer ashamed of what you see on the outside, now it's time to dig in the inside and think about what's going on in the inside that's not making you feel whole or not making you feel like you're that person that you think you are on the outside. Okay, I always say you can't love everybody, right, until you love yourself. And a lot of us don't love ourselves. We pretend like we do, but we truly don't. We don't love ourselves simply because of the things that we allow to happen to us, right? Because we were told that through love, we have to do something to get love, right? We've been taught that you have to give in order to, in order to get something. And really, that's not how love works. Even though we've been taught that, we indoctrinated that, it's not true. Being loved is something you first and foremost have to do yourself to you. I mean, that's simple, but it's simple to say, but is it simple to do for a lot of people? No, it's not. It's not really simple for a lot of people to love themselves because someone down the line told them that they don't have time to love themselves. They need to love everybody else. That they're not allowed to be upset about certain things, that they're not supposed to um, put themselves first. They're supposed to be the ones who give, give, give. And that's an issue when it comes to when we're talking about the ideal of how shadow work works. This is where the trauma comes in at, right? Because of the way we were taught as little girls, right? And we get into our teenager years, we go to school, we interact with other people, and we watch other people realizing that they are not on the up and up either about themselves, right? So we're being taught from every angle about who we are. when reality, we don't need to listen to all that. But if we can say to ourselves, I love you, and all the things that I can fix in you, I will fix. But first of all, I have to first say I love you and your quirks. I love you and your your extraness, right? I love you. And if it's anything in that process that you need to complete and fix, well then fix it. It's up to you, you know? Nobody can do it for you but you. Okay? So, cultural perspectives on the shadow. So, cultural perspectives on the shadow reveal a rich tapestry of excuse me, beliefs and practices that inform women of color engage with their inner selves. In many cultures, the concept of the shadow is intertwined with spirituality and ancestral wisdom, encouraging individuals to embrace all facets of their being. This holistic understanding can empower women of color to confront their shadows, recognizing that these hidden parts are not just sources of pain, but also reservoirs of strength and resilience. So, the things that are going on inside you, there might be pain there, but there's also victory, there's also survival, right? Um, that can be pulled out if we take time out to do the work, right? So, the journey of shadow work is deeply personal, yet it often reflects broader societal narratives. For women of color, the intersectionality of race, gender, and culture shapes their experiences with the shadow self. So, social stigmas and historical oppression can contribute to feelings of shame and isolation, making the process of self acceptance a nuanced challenge. By exploring these cultural dimensions, women can find solidarity and validation in their struggles, fostering a sense of community among those who share similar experiences. So this is also time while you're going through the process that you and others might be going through the same thing. And this opens up the doorway for you to learn this from other people, right? Other women who are actually being, who are experiencing that, right? Which is important and this almost is like the ground floor for what we do here. Other women come in and actually we can relate to each other, right? We can talk about things, right? We can make sure things, are taking place um, in a lot of ways, right? Okay. And that we are paying attention to us, right? And we do know what's going on. Okay. Let's see. I'm sorry, I was checking something. Okay. Okay. Okay, so okay. I'm sorry, I was checking something. Okay. So it's important to be careful to who you find yourself um embracing and the people that, because I don't want to say everybody's out to get you, but a lot of times people are doing things with other type of motives, and they can be authentic to you, and they could be authentic to themselves. So you have to be careful of who you're sharing your information with. Understanding the shadow self through um, a psychological lens reveals the importance of addressing unconscious biases and societal expectations. Traditional psychological frameworks may not fully capture the unique experience of women of color, which is why it is essential to integrate cultural perspectives into shadow work. This inclusive approach not only enhances personal growth, but also promotes mental health by validating diverse experiences and fostering a deeper understanding of one's identity. Let me say this, and I'll say this, and I've said it before. When we talk about the things that we can do, all this takes practice, it takes focus, it takes dedication, it takes discipline. All these things play a major part in you. These are the tools you need, but you also have to understand those action words. You definitely need to make sure you're doing it. It is not easy. Shadow work is a long, drawn out process. I will not sit here and tell anybody anything different. Okay? It is a long, drawn out process, and it has to be a process that you're willing to do. Okay? Shadow work techniques can vary significantly across cultures, often drawing upon ancestral practices and rituals. Embracing these culturally specific methods allow women of color to connect with their roots while engaging in emotional healing. Whether through storytelling, community rituals, or meditation, these techniques can provide a safe space for exploration and healing, acknowledging the complexities of identity and emotional well being. Ultimately, embracing the shadow is a transformative process that leads to a self acceptance and empowerment. By recognizing and integrating the shadow self, women of color can reclaim their narratives, challenge societal norms, and cultivate a healthier relationship with themselves. This journey not only enhances individual mental health, but also contributes to a collective healing that resonates with the families and communities, fostering resistance and intergenerational growth. So everybody can benefit from the ideal that you found a way to heal, okay? And you found a way to accept your dark side, okay? Um, and you understand what caused it, you know how it's making you feel, and you know how to balance it, right? Those are all things you learn when you take time out to do the shadow work. Now, let me tell you something. Shadow work is not a one and done type process, okay? You do it one time, you don't have to. No, that is not how it works, okay? You will be able to work with it every time you have a situation that comes about that is going to be a problem for you, okay? Because again, you're trying to find balance, okay, between what you are doing now and who you are, right? Who you are now and who you used to be, and how what you used to do and how you used to be is affecting how you are now. Okay? So you have to be able to do that. So the intersectionality of identity and shadow. The intersectionality of identity and shadow is a profound concept that resonates deeply with women of color. Each of us carries multiple identities shaped by our culture, ethnicity, gender, and experiences. These identities influence how we perceive ourselves and how we navigate the world. Acknowledging the shadow, the parts of ourselves we often hide or deny, becomes essential in understanding our full identity. So you cannot, even though we're doing all of that, we still have to realize it's still part of us. It's still there. No matter how much you want to run from it, say that it doesn't exist, you lie to yourself about it, it's still there because it just takes a couple people to trigger it and it comes out, right? The process is not just about self exploration, it's about reclaiming the narratives that have been shaped by societal expectations and internalized oppression. So, when we talk about internalized oppression, we're talking about what we're doing to ourselves. Okay? We're oppressing ourselves. The societal expectation, that's outside, that's external. But when we talk about internal oppression, that's us oppressing ourselves. The women of color For women of color, the shadow may encompasses feelings of inadequacy, yes, anger or disappointment stemming from systemic racism and cultural stereotypes. Engaging in shadow work allows us to confront these painful emotions and integrate them into our sense of self. Rather than allowing these feelings to fester, we can acknowledge them as valid responses to our lived experiences. The acknowledgement fosters resilience and empowers us to redefine our identity beyond. societal limitations. So it gives us this freedom to actually pay attention to who we are, right? And be able to respond in the way that doesn't make it seem like, oh, they're angry, or, you know, um, they're mad about something. When you talk to them, they're sassy. All the negative words that they would like to say and call us. When reality is that's not who we are. It just so happens certain things that we have not let go in our past continues to bubble up. I don't know if that's a good word to use. Bubble up at a time when we're not prepared for it. Okay. And that's something we have to actually realize that is happening to us, right? Realizing why we feel the way we feel, why we're doing the things we're doing, right? How we're reacting to some things that are happening to us. Okay. So, let's see. Ultimately, the impact of shadow work on mental health cannot be overstated. Did I pass this already? Oh, we're at the end. Okay, so incorporating shadow work techniques into our personal growth journey is a vital emotional healing. Techniques such as journaling, meditation, and therapy can help illuminate the hidden aspects of our identity. By exploring our shadows, we can begin to understand the root causes of certain behaviors and reactions, leading to healthier coping mechanisms. This practice not only aids in self acceptance, but also enhances our relationship with others as we learn to communicate our needs and boundaries effectively. Understand the psychological aspects of the shadow self is crucial in this process. Psychology teaches us, that compromises both positive and negative traits that may not want to acknowledge, that we may not want to acknowledge, right? By recognizing these traits, we can embrace our complexities and become more authentic individuals. This journey of self discovery is particularly important for women of color as it okay, allows us to break free from the constraints of societal expectation, embrace our multifaceted identities with pride. So, um, the idea that we have all these different identities is awesome. I think it's a real good flex. You might not find it as a flex, but I find it a flex because if we break away from how people are seeing us and stop getting caught up in the external, the internal is already taken care of. So who you are now, or who you want to be, or who you discovered yourself to be, it's a whole different ball game. And it's not about what everybody else thinks about you. That's what we have to. And again, this stems from what we were taught. To validate ourselves is through love. Through us giving, not to be upset about things. Take things, be that doormat to some people, right? And we learn that. We learn it through the family, then we learn it through the relationships that we get into, right? That, don't say nothing. Be cute about it. If you got to say something, be cute about it. We're not allowed to let everything go, right? Because we don't want to make everybody else uncomfortable. And this is why it stems right back to the conversations I have on my podcast, because we talk about how the woman has been deemed, how her makeup is. She was taught not to do this, not to do that. There's a long list of things that she was taught not to do, right? And because she was taught not to do them, that's how she winds up in the situation she does. She's very overworked. She's underappreciated, right? Because she's allowed all these things to happen to her. So the shadow work, that's the display of the shadow work. Okay. So the impact of shadow work on mental health cannot be overstated as we delve into the intersectionality of our identities and shadows. We create a space for healing and growth. This journey empowers us to accept ourselves wholly, fostering a sense of belonging within ourselves in our communities. Embracing the shadow is not just an individual endeavor, it is a collective movement towards liberation and self love for all women of color. Okay, driving to your destination. So we will do chapter 3 when we come back. Like I said before, I know there was a storm that happened earlier, so probably everybody was not able to come in tonight, but that's fine. Um, one person did contact me and let me know. And tonight also we were supposed to talk about the test. They took the quiz for our last book. Um, and matter of fact, I got hit up to ask me about it, and I told them, you don't have to do it. You don't have to turn it in right now. Um, but yeah. So when we talk about the shadow, and there's something I'm trying to figure out what else did I talk about dealing with the shadow, um, how important it is. Let's see here. Give me a second. Okay. Um, so I'm trying to figure out, did I find some more things dealing with the shadow? Um, it's so much. Let's see here. Um, okay. Let's see some other things that we can look at when it comes to shadow work that we can add on to. Oh wow. Oh wow. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. So let's talk about real quick. Um, I didn't know. Yeah, I'm not telling the truth. I did know. So there are 4 stages of shadow work. There's identification, acceptance, integration, and transformation. So stage 1 is integration. I'm sorry, is identification. So the goal is to recognize your shadow patterns, triggers, and projections. The first thing you want to do. Okay, so triggers and projections. So this exercise to do, I'm gonna have to save this and use this again. Hmm. Okay, let's see if I can do that. Okay, okay. I'm trying to see. Okay, so exercise, list 3 recent situations where you felt intense anger, shame, or judgment towards someone, envy or admiration for traits in others. So name 3 things where this happened recently. You felt instant, intense anger, shame, or judgment towards someone, envy or admiration for traits in others. Sometimes they'll say, "Well, I felt strong just like she did. I like that strongness in her. She did this. She did that." Sometimes we do that and not realize we're doing it. Let's talk about something intense anger. What made you angry recently? Okay, so I gave an example, and the example is, I felt furious when my coworker interrupted me. Why did this bother me so much? Like, for instance, that's a good one. Um, so your reflection be, what traits and behaviors and others provoke strong reaction in you? And could these reactions reflect disowned parts of yourself? Very good question there. Now, this is a journal prompt for recognition. I'm sorry, yes. What parts of myself do I hide from others and why? Number two, what childhood experiences taught me to reject certain emotions like anger and vulnerability? We talk about vulnerability in my discussions on our Rooted and Rising podcast. What is vulnerability and why? Matter of fact, the fear of vulnerability. So it says these are just points that were made about vulnerability. Vulnerability is not a weakness. The little girl who learned to hide her feelings. Again, this is what we're talking about 360, and this came from a discussion I had on my podcast. When survival becomes a wall, the loneliness of being the strong one, right? What women fear most, and vulnerability is the doorway to connection. And the last one is the courage to be seen. So these are all parts of points that were made talking and expressing what vulnerability is. Okay. Could these reactions reflect disowned parts of yourself? This is why this is a lot of deep digging, deep diving, um, becoming very familiar with yourself. We'll say in a heartbeat, I know myself. Let somebody trigger you in a way that you become unrecognizable to yourself. Another, for instance, when somebody touches you and you don't like to be touched, right? And you've probably already expressed that before, but the person probably didn't think nothing about it, didn't think they did anything to. And instead of you explaining to them, I don't like to be touched, you automatically become very angry with that person and you go slap off on them. Now you have to sit back and say, what made me do that? Something inside you triggered you to do that. Okay? Something, not just the idea that you didn't like being touched, but why is it that you don't like being touched? Well, for one thing, that's me personally. I don't like people touching me. So if you're saying that, why? Well, for one thing, it's me. I should be able to have some privacy where, don't get in my space. Now I'm gonna say for me, I'm a touchy person. I'll pat you on, and if you tell me don't touch me, I won't touch you because that's an understanding. I have to know what my space is. But I talk with my hands and I touch, not to make anybody feel uncomfortable. And I don't do that to everybody because I don't know everybody. If I'm having a general conversation, I can have a conversation. I don't have to touch you. But if there's somebody I know, sometimes I'll touch them. And sometimes things that they'll say, can I give you a hug? And they'll let me hug them because that's getting permission to get in their personal space and do that certain action. But you have to know if that person would have said, don't touch me, then I would have, they spaz out. I can't get mad at them for that. I mean, oh, I apologize. I'm sorry. I didn't know you felt that way. Now, sometimes people feel bad. If you know yourself, you might feel bad about that. And then you have to ask yourself, why did I react like that? Why did I go off like that? You have to be able to answer that question yourself. Okay? You have to be able to say, why did I do that? Because I know I'm telling you guys, I'm saying something that I say to myself when certain things happen to me. Why did I do that? Like, I I have my times when I go there, and I have to sit back and say, what was that about? Why did I feel that way? And this is why this right here is so valuable, because I can write in here to tell you why I felt that way. Okay? Since we're finished, I'm going to close that out. Okay. So I can write in here my feelings. Why did I act that way? Why did I shouldn't have done that, right? I can do that now. There's a times when I was afraid to even write in my book how I felt because I said to myself, I said, well, if somebody ever get a hold of my book, oh my God, the stuff they'll see in it. So I told my son and my husband that when it's time for me to go, to make sure that you burn my journals. Do not, don't hold on to my journals. Let them go. Set them free in some fire. Don't throw them away. Burn them. Burn the books, right? Because there's a lot of stuff in here, right? Um, and so when you sit down and you actually write how you really feel about certain things, it does make you feel some kind of way. Like I had to do that today for myself. So when I was writing, I realized I was like, man, this is how I felt today. But I felt better. It took me a minute to feel better, but if I felt better in the sense that, wow, man, that's how that's supposed to be. And if you do that, I'm telling you, it is a whole different feeling. But you have to be willing to get in your feelings. Let me say it to you like that. So, oh, hi there, Miss Bell. Hold up, let me get you here.
I apologize.
That's fine, sweetie. That's fine. That's fine. That is 100% fine. Um, all I did was kind of go over chapter two, chapter one a little bit, and then chapter two. Read chapter two.
That's for
Um,
the shadow work.
yes, for the shadow work. That's right.
Okay.
So what I was looking at now is the 4 stages of shadow work. Um, and I had just got through talking about there's identification, acceptance, integration, and transformation. So the first one was and also I found some questions. So I put questions in the chat that if you're interested, you can write them down and kind of answer them yourself whenever you want to. You don't have to answer them out loud, but they're there. The first question was, what power have I relinquished to others, and how can I reclaim it with unapologetic confidence? That's one question. Number two is, um, in what ways have I been taught to fear my own darkness, and how can I begin to embrace it as a source of strength? And then number three was, where in life do I hide my desire, and how would my reality shift if I pursued them without shame? So those are the questions that I found on that. And like I said, I was working on the 4 stages. I had already kind of, like I said, go over what we learned in the book. We can go back there if you want to.
Okay. You so you read chapter 2 or you did
Uh-huh.
chapter 1? Okay.
Yes. Because we did chapter one last time. Remember, you did chapter one.
No, I came in on the tail end, I think.
Yeah, but you remember you read it.
I did.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you did.
I'm not out there right now. It's just that
You
phone call
haven't.
got me. So,
Okay. Is everything all right?
yes, ma'am, it is. I
Okay.
also sent you email about what I gathered when you asked us about the summary of the last book,
Yes,
and
yes.
to rate you, it's all on one. I sent it by email. I sent it
Okay.
to your email. So um
Got it.
we didn't go over the test, right?
No, we didn't go over the test yet. No.
Okay.
Um, we're going to we don't have to do that tonight. We can do it on Saturday.
Okay. All right. Well, I need to go back and read the chapter 2 because I was thinking chapter 1.
Yeah, because we did chapter one the last time. So chapter two, you just gotta kind of read over that.
Okay.
And like I said, we were just kind of discussing some things that I found on shadow work because I want to go get deep into this because I think um, I it kind of helps me to recognize my issues on top. That's why I said I always love doing this, because I'm learning from you guys as well as you guys are learning from me. So, oh wow, how do I say that? So it's important that what we are learning here, that you actually implement it into what you're doing, as far as living, how you structure what's going on in your life. So that's why this is so important, especially this part. So I want to I want to get deep in it, but now I'm not. And I have to tell people this. I'm not a licensed therapist. What I do can kind of like, if you don't have a therapist, maybe I need to dig and see if I can get a therapist. Get you to the point where you can go and say, okay, I'm going to see if I can see a therapist, and see what else I can get out of how I'm dealing with this. Right.
Okay. Right.
Um, and I think that's important. Now, if you want to go ahead, we can go ahead and do chapter 2 again if you want to. So if you want to read, we can go ahead and do that real quick. It's not long. One thing about these chapters, are kind of short, so that's good. So if you want to go ahead and we can go ahead and start doing this, because this is just something I'm adding on extra. But if you want to go ahead and read chapter 2 for me, we can do that right now. You all right with that?
I am. I am. Let me try to get to it. It's my
Okay.
computer been acting up. Did it rain over there?
Yes, it rained. And from what my husband was saying, he said that we didn't even get the worst of it. They said it's trees down in certain areas. I was
Yeah,
like, how?
it rained, it thunder, it lightning, and wind blowing a little, but it stopped now. But yeah, I was doing that, listening to that, and trying to listen to the phone call as well. So okay, the chapter 2, the shadow self. Uh, okay, I got it.
Okay, so we got knocked off. See if she can come back in. Excuse me. Um, let's see if she can come back in. In the meantime, um, let's I'm gonna give some, see if she's able to come back in. Let's see.
Oh, yeah. You say you moved on, but you still drive by her street. Got a name tucked in your phone, like a cut you never treat. You laugh like you're fine, tilt your glass, change the theme, but you still sleep on.
All right.
Can you hear
Yeah,
me? I
yeah,
had to go back out a couple of times.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. I did. Yeah, it went completely off. It blanked out completely.
Yeah.
So I tried to get back in. It wasn't you. It's probably on
No,
my
it
end because my yeah,
on
it's
my end,
crazy.
it was telling me my phone was not connected to the
Hmm?
internet. I'm like, I was just on it a few minutes ago, but it's still, well, it's dark outside, but it's still thundering or whatever. Um,
Oh, okay. Oh,
I could go on
okay. So we
and, read chapter 2. Um,
okay. Mm.
and then when we come back, what, Saturday? I don't know if
Yeah,
you want to
Saturday.
go back over it or whatever, but
Yeah.
I can sit here and just read it. And
Okay.
if I have any questions, I'll let you know when we talk
Okay.
again.
All right. All right. That's great. That is awesome sauce. That'll work perfectly. Um,
Okay.
so I'm gonna go ahead and let you go because I definitely know that I don't want us to get electrocuted or anything. Um, but so I'll see you guys Saturday.
Okay.
Same place, same at 7:30, same time. Okay.
All righty.
All right. Talk to you later, babe.
All right. Good night.
Good night. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.